Hello and welcome to this video. This is going to be another video about an insight into empaths, indigos, sensitives, energy levels. So what I'm trying to do with this series is I'm trying to help people to understand how an empath or an indigo operates, as much as exists in this planet amongst other people. So think of an empath's energy levels being like a bucket of water, okay? And we have to keep, as human beings, we have to keep filling up that bucket of water, okay? And there's several ways that we do this, but let's just say that generally speaking, we are constantly topping up that bucket of water. What does tend to happen with empaths is we will come across somebody who drains us, okay, of energy. You heard the term being drained of energy. So think of it that person's just punctured a hole in our bucket of energy, our bucket of water, and our energy level just drains away. And this person that we come across has just taken a large part of our energy. And we come across someone else throughout the day, and another hole gets punched in the bucket, and our energy levels drop a little bit more until to a point where an empath who doesn't use any form of protection, psychic protection of any sort, will feel completely drained by the end of the day, because all of their energy has been sapped out of them. This is the closest thing that I can relate to people, to help them to understand how the energy levels of an empath work. You see, we recharge ourselves very often in nature, and by giving ourselves time and space to recharge. We can do that at home, just by quietly being in a room somewhere and reading a book, or meditating, or just being quiet. We can kind of recharge ourselves, fill up that bucket again. If we're in an environment that is constantly demanding our attention, or is what I've said before in other videos, like a noisy environment, it can become really draining. It's like we can't patch up those holes in that bucket, and every time we recharge the bucket, it just becomes drained again. And so sometimes empaths can be constantly in this cycle of just feeling drained all the time, and it can be, borderline depressing, because you just feel like you can't recharge enough to feel comfortable and happy and in control again. And it's also quite a shock to the system as well when you feel charged and full of life and energy, and you may come across a really negative person, or a psychic vampire, as it were, who punches a hole at the bottom of your bucket and then just literally drains you of all energy and kind of life force, as it were. And it becomes quite destructive in a way, because it's, and especially if you're married to someone like that, if you're married to someone who does this to you all the time, again, it's quite destructive and quite demoralizing to be in the presence of somebody that just keeps taking all that energy away from you and not replacing it, you see. Or you can't, you find it difficult to actually try and get energy maybe from someone else, so that you can recharge your own batteries, because being an empath and an indigo usually means that you're feeding other people, or other people tend to feed off of you. In most cases, that tends to be what happens. So anyway, I hope that gives, an indication of, if you've got a child, or you know someone, or you are an empath or an indigo, and this you find happens to you, or you come across somebody who possibly suffers that kind of energy drain all the time, or quite easy, that's basically what's happening. Their energy is being extracted from them, as it were, sometimes without their knowledge. This can happen as well. You come across somebody who seems to take all of your energy without really knowing that that's what they've done, and then all of a sudden that person crashes, and of course to people around it can seem quite dramatic at times, because one minute somebody's quite bubbly and lively and chatty, and then a few minutes later or an hour later they just want to fall asleep for the rest of the day. This is a very good indication that that's what's happening, that their energy has just been taken from them, and they feel drained. Child, if you come across a child that's always tired, for instance. So there is a learning there for empaths and indigos to help protect themselves from this zapping, as it were, so that people don't feel quite so drained and exhausted of energy. So anyway, that will be another video. Hopefully I can pass on some information about that. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that useful, and I shall see you again in another video.